Hello and welcome. This is going to be the last video where I'm walking in the south of France, so thank you ever so much for watching the two previous videos. I really appreciate that. And now today what I'm going to be talking about is online TEFL courses. I'm going to talk about a sort of course that I did before I did the CELTA, and it was over a couple of weekends, a Saturday and a Sunday for 2 or 3 weeks. And it was a weekend course. Excuse me whilst I readjust. My arms aren't, well, I should be doing some heavy lifting and that sort of thing more often. The course that I was involved with for a couple of weekends was my introduction to English language teaching. I had never taught English before. I'd only been in a classroom as a university student at that time. I was in my mid-20s, and this course was being held at my previous undergraduate university in Southampton. And I thought, my plan is to go to Korea anyway with my family. What better way to prepare for a language classroom than to do a couple of weekends and to then jump into the classroom. And did this course actually help me? No, it didn't. It didn't help me at all. So it was, I guess it was about 90 quid at the time. I still have the certificate somewhere, which I'll have to try and grab when I get back home to the UK. It was rather, well, it was just a short introduction to how to teach English. And I remember the first Saturday that I turned up, bright and early, already various other students or other people there willing to dip their toes into English language teaching. And it was being sold, travel the world, learn how to teach English and that sort of thing. So I turned up, I arrived, I was introduced to a professional language teacher who had done her undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in language teaching, had done a CELTA, and was now training on this, weekend course for a couple of weeks. I noticed, there were about 20 trainees there, 20 people. We learned how to teach, how to introduce language and grammar, and what to do, really. Now, one thing I should say is there's nothing wrong with being introduced to language teaching through alternative means. I've been quite pro-CELTA because that's what I did my course in after a number of years. But there is an alternative, which is the Trinity Cert TESOL course, and these courses now run face-to-face as well as online, so there's that great flexibility. But I'm not going to go on to the online element because that's not something that I was involved with. When it comes down to a weekend course, for example, that teaches you the bare basics, the absolute basics of English language teaching, is it worth it? And it's not. It really isn't. My suggestion is not to waste money, time, resources on such programs which aren't recognised or affiliated with other institutes. And this course itself wasn't affiliated, recognised by the university that I was studying at, my undergraduate university, nor was it recognised by institutes around the UK such as the British Council or English UK. I decided after 12 months of teaching in an English language classroom that I enjoyed it so much that I dived into the CELTA. And that's what leads me on to my next point, is if you're really considering to get involved in English language teaching, you can, within an online environment, because it's often unregulated, and you're going to be dealing with not just sort of cowboys of the trade, the bane of my life at that time when I was starting off was the backpacker teachers, or the visualization of the backpacker teacher, early 20s, just past their degree, going into the classroom, teaching kids, drinking for several hours, getting back home, enjoying their life, not really embracing the culture, but, you know, having a sort of a sort of party at the expense of all these language schools that really desire good quality teachers. The issue is, if you end up being a backpacker teacher or a cowboy at that point, it's very difficult to try and disassociate yourself if you're a professional teacher within that trade, and it's considered you know, a sort of cowboy backpacker sort of mentality. So it's rather difficult in that regard. So what would my advice be is, okay, do a weekend course if you really want to do it, but should I put my money elsewhere? Should I focus on another sort of course, or should I do research before I do anything? Try and do the research, buy a few books, put that money into something which you think is worthwhile, which will, you know, give you books which you can refer to over time anyway. And if you're interested in English language teaching, there are 3 books that I would recommend. I would recommend English Grammar in Use by Raymond Murphy, Teaching English by Jim Scrivener, and also the 3rd book I would recommend is Vocabulary in Use. These three books would give you good standing as an English language teacher, and also introduce you to the grammar, which you really need to start learning if you wish to do a professional, well-accredited course such as the CELTA or Trinity Cert TESL. And if you're keen to go through and proceed in this career, then consider it an investment. The CELTA isn't cheap, nor is the Trinity Cert TESOL, but there are opportunities available. There are providers around the world, and you know, you can choose the most, well, they're all accredited at the same standard, and you can choose the most suitable, the most affordable package, because it's recognised and accredited. A course that you do in Thailand, for example, will be the same as a course that you do in London. So try and choose an affordable package at that regard. And as I mentioned previously, it is an investment. It is something that you should try to see as, and it will actually improve the profession as a whole. If you think about it, if you think about how, bear with me, there's an insect on my camera. If you think about, bear with me, come on, there we go. If you think about the profession as a whole, take any profession for example, you're only as good as your colleague. And if one colleague is bringing down the whole profession in that regard, then you need to try and, it wouldn't feel right. So try to choose a course which will help the profession as a whole. You know, I gave you the analogy of the teacher backpacking over across to another country after their degree. Yes, it happens, but as a professional tutor, and as someone who's keen for the profession as a whole, try to achieve more than just going on to a TEFL course, which can be completed either online nowadays for a couple of hours, saying I've done a 100-hour course which only took me, in reality, 10 hours. So try and do something with your time. Try and do something that really helps, rather than try and find a sort of shortcut, because it won't end well at the end of the day. Anyhow, that's my withering, wathering, all sorts of things. Absolutely gorgeous sunset today. Perfect. Thank you for watching today. My final video here, walking, talking. And if you did enjoy the sort of walking, talking rant, I suppose, then please let me know your thoughts and your ideas. It'd be great to hear what you have to say. And also let me know if you've got any questions. Are you thinking about doing a CELTA? Have you done one of these sort of online TEFL courses? And what was your experience? My experience of a short weekend course was not great at the end of the day, and I'm comparing it to other accredited courses. It was just a way for these organisations to make money whilst others were keen to develop and improve themselves. But you have to do the research, you have to find out and put your money into something better than just a TESOL course, which is unaccredited and unrecognised by a range of institutes. And try to find a school that recognises your qualifications and experience. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm sorry to rant for another minute, but I'm going to leave it there for today, and hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon in a future video. Take care, stay safe, and happy teaching. Bye bye.